So you gotta keep ascending. Gotta keep ascending. Oh yeah. Gotta keep ascending. Yeah. Even at your worst, you gotta keep your vision. That's the only way that you gon' keep ascending. Gotta keep ascending. Oh yeah. Gotta keep ascending. Yeah. Even at your worst, you gotta keep your vision. That's the only way that you gon' keep ascending. Her pain is my pain. Her struggle's my struggle.
Happy Sunday! Welcome to Ascending with Toni Rochelle, and I am your host, Toni Rochelle. Thank you for joining us today on Believe Radio platform. Shout out to Believe Radio Bay Area for this platform. Shout out to y'all. I hope that everybody is blessed and highly favored and getting ready for the holiday. I know I was in the stores this weekend and people was bumping into me and grabbing stuff and already in a panic attack trying to make sure they have everything they need for their yummy, yummy, delicious dinner this week. I just had the pleasure of leaving. I was at the home of the Black Panthers this morning, and I took me and my kids, and we went to go feed the homeless. And it was just very rewarding and just a beautiful atmosphere to be in. And I was thankful because I was able to bring my kids, and they had the opportunity to see, like, what feeding the homeless is about, what the Black Panthers is about. And my daughter, she's only 11 years old, and she was just reading everything that was on the wall, and she was just like so happy to be in a space. And she's like, "Mommy, I just love Oakland so much. I just really, really love it here. Like, we don't live in Oakland anymore, unfortunately, but when we go to Oakland, which is quite often, she just reminds me of why I love my city. I love my city. So shout out to Oakland, shout out to the Bay, shout out to the town. I hope y'all have been ascending. I don't know about y'all, but life has definitely been showing up for me. It's that time of the year. It's something about the fall. It's something about the winter time. It's something about the holidays where, the enemy try to sneak up on you, right? All kind of stuff just started going crazy. Stuff is out of order. You waking up and you don't know why you feeling a certain kind of way. You don't know why your mood is changing. It's just a lot of stuff that happens around this time of year. So I just want to encourage you guys to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep ascending, and make sure y'all do something that's called self-care. Do something for yourself, even if it's the tiniest little things, to like taking a bath, or spending a little bit of time just listening to music, or doing some writing, or maybe you want to catch up on some Netflix or something. Like, do something for yourself. Like, we have to make sure that we put ourselves first, and at the end of the day, we have the control of our happiness. So I want to just encourage y'all, because I know around this time is a lot of times where people start to feel like I don't know, they just get in this depression or this worriness of not having like enough money for the holidays, or maybe you don't have family to spend the holidays with, or maybe you just feel like this year is almost over with, because this year is almost over with. I can't even believe it. And it's like, oh, the year went by and I didn't get to take care of this. I didn't get to do this. My to-do list is still long. It's no check marks by it. So I just want to encourage you, timing is everything to us, but everything is right on time, because your life is mapped out the way it's supposed to be. The people that you're supposed to meet, they're going to come right on time. The places that you're supposed to travel or go to, it's going to be right on time. Your situation that you may be going through is it's gonna come to pass right on time. Okay, so I'm just here to encourage y'all today. Welcome if you've never seen this platform before. This is ascending with Toni Rochelle, and I don't know if you know what ascending means. Ascending means to. It's a lot of definitions. But what I like to define it as is to thrive. To thrive through life, to keep going, to push yourself. Don't stay stagnant. And it's okay if you get upset for a little bit. It's okay if you feel disappointed. It's okay if you're afraid just for a little bit, but get ready to just keep going through life. Because the thing is that we all are going through life together. All of our situations may not be the same, but the one thing we have in common is that we all have situations, is that we all have life shows up. whenever it feels like it. And a lot of times we are not, it's not scheduled to show up. Disappointment is not scheduled to show up. Sadness is not scheduled to show up. Hurt, pain, it's not scheduled to show up. But when it does, we get to make the choice. We get to make the choice of how we feel, how we're going to move through it, how we're going to push through it, how we're going to keep going. Because that's what we have to do in this life. Life is ups, it's downs, it goes around and around. And then as soon as you feel like you're going up, you go all the way back down again. You ascend and then you descend. You descend and then you ascend. So I'm just here to encourage you guys to watch this platform, get some encouragement, listen to some storytelling of real people. Okay? Real people that's going through life, that's experiencing life right here on this platform. Because this platform was created for you to heal, to get inspiration, to be inspired, and to mostly to feel like you're not on your own. Because a lot of times when we're going through life, we just feel like, dang, why is this happening to me? Why did this life come for me? Why did you pick me to go through this? But right around the corner, right across the street, right next door, somebody is going through it just like you. So I encourage you, keep going. Keep pushing yourself. People make you mad, let them make you mad, but don't let it stop you. You got laid off on that job and you thought you were supposed to retire from there. You thought that's where you were supposed to be. Go get another job. And I know you like, okay, Toni, you doing too much. That just sounds so easy. Like you just got it all good. You just got it all figured out. I don't. And guess what? None of us do. Rich, poor, black, green, yellow, it doesn't matter. None of us have this thing called life figured out. But we do have a choice. Hear me out. We got a choice. We got a choice to push ourselves, to get through it, to find encouragement, to be inspired, to try new things, switch it up a little bit, your environment, your people that you hang around with, the places that you go, the things that you listen to, even the things that you eat. All of that is a choice. So I encourage you, live life by ascending through all your stuff that you got going on. Now, anyway, I want to say happy holidays to everybody. Go out and, switch it up. Like I said, go and find some place to volunteer, feed the homeless, clean out your closet, give away your old things to give to somebody else because your old things is new to someone else. I'm going to tell you, I know the number one thing that homeless people like is socks. Socks. I don't know about y'all, but every time I do the laundry, some kind of way, I know I put two of the same socks, the pair of socks in the dirty clothes. And then when I get ready to wash, I can't never find a mate to all the socks. Is that irritating to you? Because it's irritating to me. So if you want to go out and buy you some new socks and you want to give away those mismatched socks, I'm telling you, the homeless will love it. They will love it. I encourage you to go and get some gifts for foster children. Remember, there's a lot of kids that's in foster care right now that don't have their parents, that don't have nobody to advocate for them, and they may not have that Christmas that everyone else is going to have. There's so many things that you can do during a holiday, and I promise you it'll make you feel good. It'll make you a better person. So I just encourage you that. That's what this platform is about. It's your platform. It's my platform. It's community. Being in community and just being with one another and experiencing life together. So keep us in it, y'all. Keep us in it. Okay, so I have a guest. And I'm so excited to have her. She's a phenomenal woman. She's an author. She's just amazing. And I can't wait to get in her business, y'all. I can't wait. So I know y'all tired of hearing me talk for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up so I can have somebody to talk back to because I'm excited. So I'm going to bring her up on stage. Hello. Hi, Miss Stacey.
Hi, Toni. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Community. I have Miss Stacey L. Miller in the building. I'm the host, the DJ, the sound effect person, all of that. So, we got to keep it encouraged. You're looking very, very beautiful today. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm doing well for a Sunday afternoon. No complaints. It's good. The sun is shining. I'm happy to be alive.
Yes, Lord. You said the right words to me. The right words to me. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself again to the community. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then I'm gonna get up in your business if that's okay.
Sure. Okay, my name is Stacey L. Miller, and I am an author, speaker, and I am a course creator. I created and authored a book entitled Better Not Bitter: The Good Girl's Guide to Navigating Life's Disappointment.
Ooh, that sounds powerful. That sounds very, very powerful. If people want to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
So my social media handle is your go to girl with the number two girl and on IG. And that's where they can find me.
Okay, okay. Y'all know where to find her. Okay, so and I put it up there on the screen, so just in case y'all didn't get it, y'all didn't get it. So we gonna get right into it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to come and talk to me and be with me today. And let me get in your business.
Thank you for having me.
I always just have to. It means a lot to me when people say yes, to come and sit with me on this platform and really, be in community about who they are and what their life is about and what they have overcome, because that's what ascending is overcoming and just not staying stagnant. And so I'm gonna just get right on into it. Okay. So
Sure.
Miss Stacey, we are gonna talk about your book. But before that, I want to know, when you think of the word ascending, what does that mean to you?
Ascending means going higher to me. It means rising above and coming up out of something and going in, to a higher level. Like, for instance, I always think of when they say rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. That is when I think of ascension, because a phoenix has come from below, beneath, and rose above. So that's my
I always
definition in a
love,
nutshell.
yes. See, I love asking that question. It's my favorite question to ask because everyone has their own perception, their own narrative of the word. And y'all seem to go deeper and deeper the more and more people I talk to. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So let's go a little deeper. So, have you ever found yourself where you had to ascend through life?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think life in and of itself is can be challenging. I think
Mhm.
that life is. I don't know if it was designed to be easy. However, I know that the longer you live, with more experience that you're given from the things that you go through, I think it leaves you an opportunity to have a blueprint to make your life that much more easier, because you're learning from things that have happened to you, or things that you've gone through, or things that that you've encountered.
So when you think of a time where you just was, what was the time where you was just stuck and you was just stagnant and you didn't know how you was going to get through it. You didn't know how you was going to ascend through it. I mean, maybe you didn't even know what the word ascending mean. I don't know. Can you tell me about a time where that happened to you?
Well, it's interesting. I used to suffer from seasonal depression. So it was just a time in my life where fall time started coming around, daylight savings, it seemed dark. Always seemed like I felt sad for some reason. No particular reason, but just sad, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I wasn't necessarily going through anything. I think I was dealing with my life as it normally happens and occurs. However, I still felt like this underlying and deep-seated sadness, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I remember feeling like, just felt like I could just cry at any moment. And I had no idea where that came from. And I remember thinking that, perhaps I need to go talk to somebody. I might need to go to therapy to just kind of tap in and see where is this, where is this deep rooted sadness coming from. And so I went through my health plan, found me a therapist, and went and spoke with a therapist. And she was saying, she was asking me a couple of, qualifying questions and things like that. And, I was just telling her, I just feel sad for no particular reason. I'm not going through anything. I'm not sad about anything in particular, but I just have this sadness. And I was telling her, I always feel this way. And I said,
Yeah.
usually starts around in like September-ish, right? And so she was telling me about this seasonal depression. And I was like, I, like, how you think, like, is this a real thing? But she was telling me that it was, in fact, a real thing. And that because it was getting darker earlier and just seemed like we had more darkness than light. I'm one of those people, I love the light and I love like summertime and, that type of thing. So I started to feel like, okay, well, this makes some sense. But the
Mhm.
interesting thing about that period in my life was the moment that I discovered that that's what it was, then I was able to pinpoint it, deal with it, and now I don't have it anymore. So I think it was just a matter of discovering it and pinpointing what it was and where it was coming from. So it helped me be able to transcend it. So I ascended from that.
Well, I definitely can relate to what you're saying. I was just talking about that in my intro, how like it's that time of the year where you do wake up and you just feel like I'm not happy. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I don't know why I'm going through the way I'm feeling. Like I know I'm blessed. I know I got food on the table and a roof over my head, but I just don't feel good. You know, I could definitely relate to that. So when you started feeling like that, what did you do? Like what was the steps? Give me specific steps that you did to make yourself feel better. Cuz a lot of times we talk about this, but we don't really tell like what did we really do to get out of that mood?
Well, one for me, like I said, going to therapy was one of the first steps in recognizing one what it was I was actually going through, right? So once I realized that's what it was, so then I started thinking about like what makes me happy, like what makes me feel better, what makes me have a good mood, what makes me be my feel my normal self. And one of the things that I did realize was that I do like the light. I don't really like it when it's like dark and cold and rainy and dreary. So I started to do things like I would bring flowers into my home. I
Mhm.
would wear bright colors. I would
Yeah.
make sure that I talked to and surrounded myself with people who made me happy, who made me smile, who I liked to be around, who always brought me joy. I like being around people who were positive, and those are the things that help pull me out of that feeling because I wasn't sad about anything particular. It wasn't like I wasn't in a breakup. I wasn't, there wasn't anything that made me specifically sad. It was just a deep seated feeling that I had within myself that was it just felt heavy and dark. And so to lift that heaviness and that darkness, I surrounded myself with what I consider is light. Like I said,
Yeah.
I brought flowers and wore bright clothes and, you know, been was around people who just made me happy.
And you said an interesting thing. You said you went to therapy. And a lot of us frown upon therapy, especially in our community.
Sure.
Um, where did that come from? Did someone tell you like you should go to therapy or did you just think of that on your own? And yeah.
Well, I know that first of all, there is a stigma about going to therapy in the African American community. However, I just felt like I needed help because all the things, because I'm a naturally jovial and joyous person, so it's
Mhm.
really just not like me to be sad. It's not like me to be down. And I've had periods in my life where there were some things that were going on that I was sad about, but that was a particular reason. So
Yeah.
I had an excuse, if you will, for that particular
Ooh,
type of sadness. But the sadness that I was experiencing, I couldn't put my finger on it. There was nothing specific that I was going through that caused it. And so it made me start to look into alternative forms of trying to figure out what is going on with me. Because I didn't feel suicidal or anything like that, but I just felt sad. And I'm like, I'm not a sad person. And so I felt like I needed help to help one pinpoint that and give me some tips and tools and strategies to how to deal with and or navigate that.
Now, when you have went to therapy, was that your first time going to therapy?
It was.
Okay.
It
And
was
when
my
you
first time, and no one suggested that I go. It was just something that I felt that I needed to do for myself because I couldn't bring myself out of it.
right, right. So you need to first of all, I want to congratulate you on making a choice.
Mm.
And making a choice of not staying in that position, not staying in that feeling, and just dwelling in it, because that's a lot of times we get into those feelings or those situations and we dwell in it and we become stuck, you know. So congratulations on that. When you met with that therapist, was that therapist a good fit for you?
Actually, yes. And I didn't have any parameters or whatever. I didn't even know what to look for in a therapist. I mean,
Mhm.
knowing what I know now, I probably would have sought out an African therapist. However, my therapist was not. She was a white woman. And I felt like I'm the kind of person, if I don't feel it's a good fit, I won't go back or I'll make a change. I thought that she actually was really good. Ironically enough, I felt like I just chose her out of a list of therapists that I had in from my
Mhm.
medical plan. I just pretty much chose one um, that was basically near me. She was not too far from where I lived, so it was like a convenience type of thing. And I read her little bio and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
as she was a woman, I did want a female therapist, so that was pretty much it. And when I met with her, though, I did think that she was a good fit for
I
sure.
appreciate you saying, how you went about, picking her, because community, what I want you to know is that we have this stigma about going to therapy. But just like Miss Stacey said, if she would have known what she know now, she got educated, because now she know that you can be very specific about the therapist that you want. You could say that you want a man or a woman, an African American person, or whatever nationality, or a marriage counselor, or there's certain categories that you can have on that therapist that you want to go see. And I think a lot of times when therapy comes to mind, people that do choose to go to therapy, maybe sometimes the first time it doesn't work for them, and then they just completely stop, which means you become stagnant, right? And then you don't deal with those issues, and then that's still bottled up inside you, and then that's your issue that you're going through in your life. But like Miss Stacey said, like, you can make a choice, and even if that first therapist doesn't work out, now okay, that therapist didn't work. That therapist wasn't doing it for me. So now when I go and I pick who I want to talk to next, they got to have this, that. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's a choice. Just like living life is a choice. Okay, so let's talk about being disappointed. When you think about being disappointed, what was something that you were disappointed in your life?
Well, I think that life in and of itself can render you a lot of disappointments. But I want to just say one thing about the therapy. It
Yes.
reminds me of like when you go to get your hair done, right? I remember seeing a sign in the hair shop that said, if you are unhappy with your stylist, don't change shops, change operators. So, same thing with your therapist. If you feel like it's not a good fit, don't stop going to therapy, find another therapist. So now back to the
I like
disappointment.
that, by the way. I like that. I like that.
I didn't want to interrupt you with that, but that came to my mind when you were saying, people have a choice, because we do. And we have
And
to sometimes advocate for ourselves especially when it comes to, our health care.
that's the best word that you could have described: advocating for yourself, picking and
Absolutely.
choosing what you like, what you want, what you need. And then, I mean, you didn't even know. You just knew that you wanted help. You knew that that's what you wanted to do. But the aftermath is that you figured out, you educated yourself by figuring out that, oh, if I do got to go to therapist, or if I would have did it this way, then I know I need to pick it this way. So yes.
Absolutely. But she was really good. So now back to disappointment. So disappointment, my mother used to always tell me, I would always cry and be upset about, like things when stuff just doesn't work out, right? Because people disappoint you, life disappoints you, work disappoints you, you have disappointments throughout your whole life. And what I discovered about disappointments is that basically disappointments come as a result of just unmet expectations, right? Um, a lot of times people get disappointed because they have unmet expectations. They've encountered deceit or rejection or loss, right? And so all those things can render one disappointed. And for me, I think maybe a combination of those things, or not necessarily all in that order or all at one time, but I've experienced all of those things. And so those things can leave you bitter. And that's one of the reasons what led me to write my book, is because disappointment from deceit, rejection, unmet expectations, and
Mm,
loss can render you disappointed, and ultimately, if left unchecked, bitter.
mm. Now let's talk about that bitterness, because that could eat you up and spit you out and do it all over again, right?
Absolutely. My prayer has always been, Lord, do not leave me a bitter woman. I mean, it's the worst thing in the world. Like, I'm one of those kind of people. I like I said, I'm like a life-size Tinkerbell. I'm always happy. I like to have a good time. I'm smiling and all that good stuff. But when disappointment hits, it can derail everything you thought you know about everything you thought you know. Right. And so a
Word.
lot of times when you sit in that and you let that fester, that's where bitterness has an opportunity to grow root and really manifest in your life, is when you leave yourself unchecked from
Mhm.
the disappointments that you've received.
So what I know you said you went through disappointment and you named some of the things that disappointed you. Um, but you wrote a book about it.
Yeah. So my
So
book, the inspiration behind my book was that I had just kind of been looking around in the world, of course, and seeing how at the time it seemed like there was like a war against women and girls, right? And there was like, it seemed like there was always something negative happening to a woman and or a girl. And I was like, women, we go through a lot, and there's a lot of things that happen with us that can leave us, of course, disappointed. And so I was like, well, I've been disappointed before, and I have always advocated for women and girls. And so I find myself almost like a cheerleader, if you will, for
mhm,
us. And I noticed that I had always been called upon to help somebody solve their problem, or give advice, and or lend a listening ear when someone was going through something. So it inspired me to write this book, because like I said, my prayer was like, Lord, don't make me bitter behind all the things that I've gone through. And so I saw some folks that were, in danger of becoming bitter. So that's what this book is. It's kind of like a love letter to women and girls.
oh, I love that. I
Because
love that so much. Why do you care so much though?
I'm
Why
a
did
woman.
okay?
I'm a woman and I was a girl, right? And so I think that what happens is there is no blueprint,
Mhm.
right? I think what happens is that women are almost trained, if you will, from just being a little girl. Be soft, be pink, be
Yes,
sweet, be this, be that, right? But nobody really tells you how to deal with things. No
say
one.
that.
They always tell you how to react or be toward another person, but what does that have to do with you? Right?
Mm,
We find ourselves pouring from an empty cup. You can't help someone if you're not fulfilled within yourself,
mm.
But women, and on countless times, they do it time and time and time again. And what happens? Then they end up angry, right? They end up
And
frustrated.
bitterness.
Right, angry, frustrated, upset. And you ever meet somebody that I think everybody thinks they're mean, but you know them and you're like, well, you know that they're not like that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Not normally. And a lot of times what people have saw was really just the manifestation of some hurt that person has gone through, because that's all it is. It's just masked hurt and masked pain. That is the defense mechanism is anger or bitterness, or just like that sharp personality.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's just tough being a woman, period.
Sure.
Especially a Black woman. I'm gonna just put that out there.
Absolutely.
But so I appreciate the love letter to us. And I mean, there's women that's like 65 years old and they still dealing with stuff from their childhood.
The thing with that is that if you don't deal with your stuff will deal with you, right?
Ooh. Wait. I think you might need to say that again. That was
If
real
you
good.
don't deal with your stuff will deal with you. And what I mean by that is that some of the things that you've gone through in your past, if left unchecked and left undealt with and unresolved, it comes up in your life and it can cause you problems. Wherein, like in your relationship, it can show up at work. It can show up within your friendships, all kinds of things. A lot of times people, like I said, we're just walking around wounded and we're hurt and we haven't dealt with our stuff. And then we're guarded and we're angry and we're bitter and we're mean and we're unapproachable. And those are some of the things but what in reality, all that is it's a defense mechanism, because you're still trying to shield yourself from something that you've gone through.
That's a gem right there. That's a gem. Seriously. I mean, so with all these experiences, all these topics that you're bringing up, what is one of these topics that really resonated with you, where you were stuck in that position, where you were disappointed, or you had that bitterness, or like, did something happen? Did somebody do something to you? Like, can you talk about that?
No, it's so funny. I got a call from someone after I had written my book, right? And it was so funny. It was oh, I read your book and I thought your book was very good. And I was like, well, thank you so much, right? And then they were like, well, I thought you were going to talk about me because it was a past relationship. And I'm like, why would I talk about you? This book isn't even about me. This book is for women, about women and what women go through. And yes, you can go through things with men and you can go through things in relationship, but to me, it's par for the course as far as living goes, right? You're going to get disappointed, because if you're not, even people who you love will disappoint you, right? I will disappoint someone, because it's a heavy burden to put all your eggs in one basket on one person. It's a lot to put that much responsibility on another human being. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're fallible. We're going to mess up, if you will. And so nobody's perfect. And to that end, it's really about disappointment for people. Like, it's a book about women, but anyone can relate to the things that are in here, because disappointment is universal.
It
right?
is.
It's not just that we don't corner the market in disappointment as women and or girls. It's universal. Everyone has experienced betrayal. Everyone has experienced disappointment. Everyone has experienced hurt at the hands of another person. We've all experienced that. So no one is a stranger to that. So anyone reading this book can get help and or find a place where they can have a soft landing for their feelings and what it is that they've gone through, and then have an empathetic ear and or stance to what they've experienced.
Okay, where's the book? We want to look at the cover. You got it. You got the book right there with you. There you go.
So this is my author's copy. So it's not for resale, but you can find it on Amazon. And so the book it's like a compass, right? Because it's called Better Not Bitter: Navigating the Good Girl's Guide to Navigating Life's Disappointments. And so there's a compass on the front, right? And all the different points on the compass are like, so there's spaces that you can be in. So there's spaces for the things that you've gone through, which are the unmet expectations, the loss, the deceit, the rejection. But then there's the good spots, right? There's
Right.
also places when you can go to. So from unmet expectations, you can have joy, and from deceit, you can have love, and from rejection, you can have hope, and from loss, you can have peace. So all those are different compass points on the cover of that book. And I specifically had the cover design like that so that people can know that that's what navigation is about. That's what the compass is about, because you can be in any one of those parts, but you can go from a position of loss to a position of hope. You can go from a position of deceit to this position of joy, or you can go from a position of rejection to a position of love. So at any time of your life, you could be at any of those compass points.
And isn't that the way life is?
It's life.
Just like that.
Yeah. As they say, life is lifing, right?
Life, I mean, you could wake up in the morning, just like you and I stated already. Wake up, and this happened to me last Sunday. Last Sunday, I woke up and I was just real, like, I don't know, I was moody. I was kind of sad. And I didn't know why I was sad. My energy was really low. And I said, you know what? I need to get up, I had to host a gig last weekend. And so I said, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do my makeup, I'm gonna do my hair, which typically I don't do my own makeup for gigs. And I did my makeup, and I had a bomb makeup day. My makeup was good. I got both of the lashes on correctly. One wasn't wobbly or nothing. I did my own hair, and I actually did my nails the night before. So I felt good. And then I still didn't feel good after I got dressed for some reason. And I said, I couldn't wait. I can't wait to get to this event so I can be around a nice environment. And the room that I went into was nothing but Black women. It was called Divas in the Jungle. And it was just women empowering one another. And it's like, soon as I stepped into that room, my whole energy just changed. It just changed. And that's what happens with life. Like, we go up and down, cold to hot, like, especially just being women. Like, we don't know. I don't know why God made it so emotional, but we are. Even though men are emotional too. That's a whole nother show, but that's okay. So yes, that book, that I gotta read that book. What was the inspiration? How long did it take for you to actually put all that detailed information into that book? Like, walk us through the process of that. Did you write a certain time of the day? Was there little notes that you wrote before you actually wrote the whole book to put in the entirety of the book?
Well, I had taken some, like, I love quotes, and I'm an avid reader and a lifelong learner. So and I like to, I'm a talker, so I like to talk to people. I'm a communications major, as far as academically goes, right? And I teach communication. So just in talking to people, like, I gathered information and gathered scenarios in which to draw from. But then, of course, I did research so that there are some statistical support for some of the things that I speak about in the book. I love quotes, so there's some wonderful quotes from people that head up some of the chapters that give you a bit of inspiration. There's some Bible in there, because I love the Lord. And yes, and I know that for me, and it's everyone doesn't necessarily prescribe to a higher power, but for me, I've been through a lot, and I know that there's I know from where my help came, and I know from where I've been saved. So I'm good with speaking and saying what the Lord has done for me, and even brought me through and out of some things. And so, I mean, there's been a lot of things I took, like those sticky notes were everywhere. So anytime I would find something that's like, oh my God, this would be good to speak on in the book, I would have like sticky notes. And then what I did as far as my process went was I just started writing, and I started thinking about like the structure of a book and how I wanted to outline it and what thought went into the next. And I wrote my chapters down and started filling out the information, which was the support, which, filled in the blanks, if you will. And I gave myself a deadline. I didn't necessarily have a particular time, a day or night that I wrote. I just kind of wrote whenever I could. Normally would be, I'm a night owl, so normally would be like at night and things like that. I gave myself a deadline, however, to finish the book, and that was by my birthday. And my birthday is November the 5th, and I did that. So
Happy belated.
oh, thank you. Yeah. So I gave myself that deadline, and I made my deadline, and pretty much had published the book, and that was it. And ironically enough, November 16th was the day I had my book launch, and
Oh.
it was in 2019 was when I launched my book. So yes.
Now, where did all that courage come from? What gave you the courage to really say, you know what, I'm gonna put all of this in the book to encourage other women, other people with this information that I have stored in my heart?
Well, ironically enough, I knew I always wanted to write a book.
Mhm.
I had no idea what I wanted to write the book about, but I did know that one of my life goals was to write a book, to be an author. And that's what it was. Ironically enough, I was in the midst of writing a book, a business book. So I'm a communications major, and I was in the process of writing a book about communications in the workplace, right?
Mhm.
And so,
Cool.
and communications etiquette. But in the middle of that, it's like this book just dropped in my spirit. God gave me this book. And so what I did was I put that book aside to write this book. I
Wow.
finished this book and I put this book out because I felt like there was more of an immediate need for this particular book. And even
Mhm.
though it's not an academic book because it's far away from what work and what I do with work, but it was a necessary book. And so since I felt like the necessary outweighed academia, because that's what I do for a living. So I can always get back to that, and I get paid as a consultant. So I still have things that I teach in that respect as far as communications for a living. But I felt like this book was more necessary.
I
Uh,
mean, just
the
just the
book.
way you're describing it, it still sounds like a communication book though, but to yourself. Because we absolutely have to communicate with ourselves, and we have to, I feel that we really have to agree or disagree if we want to feel this type of way. And also
Well,
give ourselves permission to feel this way, but not stay stagnant.
and it falls in the self-help genre. So, um, yeah.
Okay, so tell us the name of the book again and where you can find the book.
So the book is entitled Better Not Bitter: The Good Girl's Guide to Navigating Life's Disappointment. So the full title is Better Not Bitter. So if you were looking for it, that will be what it's under. The subtitle is The Good Girl's Guide to Navigating Life's Disappointments, and it can be found on Amazon.com.
That's a title for your mama right there. How did you come up with that title?
Well, I'm a good girl. I've always been a good girl, right? And so I just found that a lot of times is that how they say nice guys finish last. Well, I feel like good girls end up disappointed. And
Oh,
so it can be said so, but not necessarily. You know what I mean? It's like I think you can go through a lot, but it doesn't mean that you have to become bitter behind it. And that's where the good girls guide, because what it is that I found that a lot of good girls, if you try to follow the rules, you do what as you're told, you color within the lines and things like that. But then you encounter people who might take your kindness for weakness, and
mm-hmm.
they think that because you're a certain kind of demeanor, that means that you're a pushover or you're like easily discarded. But then there's also this thing wherein when you're such a good and nice and sweet person, then sometimes people think that there's a phoniness about you, like somehow, like, where's the other shoe, like the other shoe is going to drop, like, oh, she can't be this sweet, she can't be this good, like something's wrong, or like they're looking for something to show up in you to discount or disprove who it is that they see you as, like as like a sweet person or something like that. And so a lot of times people take advantage of people that are very sweet natured. And so that's where this title came about, and just helping people to navigate that. And that's what I mean by bitterness. It's like a lot of times people who have been good to other people have been mistreated, and it
Yeah.
caused them to be bitter as a result of that. Because the idea is not to ever have that happen again. So you put up a wall or a defense mechanism, or you change because of some things that have happened to you and have hardened you to a degree.
There it is. There it is. Not giving up. Not
Yeah,
giving up on people, because we all need people and we have to keep giving people chances, especially if we're a believer, because he gives us chances over and over and over, but not staying in
absolutely.
it. Not staying in it. Ooh, that was good. That was
I
good.
have there's one chapter called Good Girl Gone Bad. It's one of my favorite chapters, right?
That's all I wanted to keep. When you were saying the title, that's all I could think of, honestly. Good girl
So,
gone
so
bad.
yeah,
Good
so
girl
there's a chapter in here called The Good Girl Gone Bad. I talk about a couple of different scenarios about that, right? So, um, one particular scenario I talk about is like, let's just say the mother and wife.
Mm,
Usually, the mother and the wife gives of herself to her family on a daily basis. It's nonstop. It's constant. You're
non-stop.
wiping butts, you're cleaning, cleaning up in behind, you're washing, cooking, cleaning, taking care of a household, taking care of other people. You're responsible for other human beings, right? You
Right.
get spent to the point where you don't have time for yourself. Usually, a lot of women say that they run to the bathroom to get away from everybody else in the house, right? That's how they get their peace, by going to the bathroom. And then a lot of times they say, even when I'm in the bathroom, somebody's pecking at the door,
Exactly. Knocking at
mom,
the door, mommy.
they want something, right? And so what happens is that usually at some point you just blow up and you say, everybody get it themselves. And then everybody's looking crazy, like, oh my goodness, like we pushed her to the ground.
Like you the crazy person. Like
Right,
you.
but then everybody runs scared because it's like you've had enough and you just blow up, and it's like everybody get it themselves. I'm not
Mhm.
doing nothing for nobody, and I don't care
That's
how
fucking-
large or small they are in this house. Do it yourself. That's the ultimate breaking point that a woman gets to, right? Normally in the
Right.
household. But then what happens? Then everybody's like, oh, everybody has that epiphany, like, okay, we've gone too far, we've pushed her too hard, we've been too insatiable, the whole nine. But then what happens is everybody, then there's the quiet.
The
And
quiet.
everybody's quiet. So now they're tiptoeing around mom. They're like, okay, we've done too much. Let's just leave her alone. And so then she's able to enjoy a measure of peace, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
only until they get comfortable and the cycle starts all over again. And
I'm
you
losing.
find yourself blowing up yet again. And it just depends on how long it takes you to blow up the next time. So they tiptoe around you while they feel like you're upset. But
Yeah.
then the moment that sometimes their needs start happening, and they're like, okay, well, she's upset, but I still need this. And so it
Yep.
just starts all over again. So that's the good girl gone bad. You expect for your mom or your wife to be a certain way, and she's always accommodating, always, there. You can count on her. And then when she's had enough, she just blows up. And then it's quiet until the next time.
Do, 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 do. That happened to me this week too. My kids made me so mad. I had to yell at them. And I just stormed off downstairs. And then like 10 minutes later, they called me upstairs and they had did what I had asked them to do. They had these big old letters. They did wrote a whole letter to me. I'm sorry, mommy, please forgive me. It was really cute. And I was really thankful for that, because some kids, they don't apologize like that or even show it. And they did what they were supposed to do. And I felt better. And I had felt bad a little bit, but I felt, sometimes you got to do that so people can really know what's up,
Sure.
you know? Not stay that way, but sometimes that needs to happen. Miss Stacey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Y'all go out and get her book. Go get her book. Go get her book. I can't wait to go get your book. I want you to leave some encouraging words, because I'm pretty sure that there's so many women out here that feel stuck. They feel disappointed. They have bitterness in their hearts because of this, that, and who, so many things to be that way, right? But if you had to tell some person, even if we reach one person, we might reach several women today. What is your encouraging words that you would like to leave for community?
So I'll leave with a little excerpt. I'll read one small passage from the book. It says, you either get bitter or you get better. It's that simple. You either take what has been dealt to you and allow it to make you a better person, or you allow it to tear you down. The choice does not belong to fate. It belongs to you. And that's an anonymous quote that I put in my book. And it kind of surmises everything. One thing my book really it stands for is about setting boundaries and saying no and letting go of disappointment. And so once you do those things, you will be, in fact, better and not bitter.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for caring. Thank you for not keeping that all to yourself and really spreading that inspiration across the board, because that's what it's about. Us not all feeling alone, and you always think it's just you, like, I just feel mean, or I'm just mad, or I don't want to feel like this, but I don't want to be around nobody else. But we all can get to that point and feel that way. And so just the reminder, just the gym, just the book, to have that, to know that, like, we could use this as another mechanism of healing. So we appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always my pleasure to be able to provide some type of insight and share some joy, and let people know that there is this too shall pass. That's Bible. It's like we come to things, and we have things that can almost break us, or it seems insurmountable. But if you can think about something that you've gone through, and if you're thinking about it now, that means that you've already come through it. And a lot of times when you're going through something, you feel like you cannot take one more thing. You cannot like, Lord, I can't take another thing. I can't do this. I can't go through this. I can't. But if you hold on, it's like the kid at the amusement park. You know how you go to one ride and you think that's the best ride ever because that's the first one you come to, and then there's other rides around the corner. And when somebody's trying to get you to go around the corner, you're like, no, 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 you want to stay at this ride? That's like God. He always has something better for you. So when you're going through something and you're hanging on to that, and you think that this is either the worst or the best that you can get, know that around the corner is always something so much better. And that's just God's grace and God's gift to us. So all we have to do is hold on and keep living. And the best is yet to come.
Yes, yes. I love that, Miss Stacey. I love that. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to sit with me and giving us some gems and telling us about your book. I think y'all should go get her book. That might be a nice little stuffing stuffer, this stocking stuffer. Did I say that right? I'm thinking about dressing. That's all I'm thinking about. Thanksgiving can't get here fast enough. That's all I want.
Yeah.
But y'all know what I was trying to say. That would be a nice Christmas gift to give to another woman. I encourage you to go out and maybe not even buy the book for yourself, but buy a book for somebody, that woman, that lady, that sister, that friend, or maybe just that person that may need that book, because that sounds very encouraging. And I can't wait to get my hands on it and read all through it. So thank you again for coming on the show. Do you want to, want to give any shout outs or tell us your social media one more time so people can follow you?
Well, my social media, Facebook is Stacey Miller, and my IG is Your Go-To Girl, and you can also reach me on LinkedIn with the same handle, Your Go-To Girl. So
thank you so much, Miss Stacey. Happy holidays. I appreciate you. I'm gonna go get your book. Community, go get your book. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being a pillar in this community, and we love you. I love you.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure. It is always my pleasure to spread love and light. And so I hope that I've done that today. And I appreciate your platform and for you having me. So to you and yours, happy holidays and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful for Miss Stacey. She put a lot of gems out there for us today. Y'all go get the book. If you feeling in that way, if you feeling defeated, you feeling stuck, you feeling hurt, you feeling disappointment, you need some encouragement. Maybe you don't want to go to a therapist. Maybe that's something that you don't believe in. Maybe you don't have a friend or a person that you could talk to. Maybe you're just sick and tired of people and tired of talking to people. There's several gems and several things that we can do to encourage ourselves and not stay in that position. We can be hurt. We can go through disappointment, but we don't have to settle in that moment. And just like she said, life changes. Like if we give up right now, just think about right now. Think about a time where things were so hard and you wanted to give up, but you didn't. And then a couple of weeks came later, and then this big thing happened to you, or you met that person, or that situation changed. Now, just what if you just would have gave up that time? Just what if you really, really would have gave up that time when you really wanted to give up? Because like she said, that when you're in it, you just tired of it. You're tired of dealing with that situation. You're tired of going to that job. You're tired of dealing with that problem. You fed up. You're exhausted. But if you would have gave up, you don't know what's on the other side of the door for you. You don't know what's coming the next couple of weeks. Because the thing is, y'all, is that life is already set out for us. Everything that belongs to you, that belongs to us, is already waiting for us. But I believe that life is just a test. All these little things that we go through, they're hills, and we got to climb over, and we got to jump over, and we got to get through it. And sometimes we are dragging our feet through it. But the main thing is don't give up. Don't feel defeated. Don't let life bring you down. And if it does, decide to make that choice, to push yourself through it. It's so many things around us that can keep us inspired. This platform, Miss Stacey's book, go to church, get on your knees, write a letter, write a book, because you don't know what's already waiting for you on the other side. So I encourage you. Yeah, I know you're mad at mama. I know you don't want to be a single mom. I know you're not making enough money. I know the house that you're living in it's too small. There's so many things to give up that we want to give up on life. But there's so many things that's promised to us that's waiting for us. So I encourage you. Be disappointed for a second. Be sad for a minute. Maybe be tired for a week. But when you're done with all of that, get yourself up, push yourself, get through it, and keep ascending. I love y'all. Happy holidays. We'll be here every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Go back and watch all the other episodes if you need some encouragement. This is the best time to watch all the shows. Binge watch all the shows so you can get some encouragement, so you can get some inspiration, so you can feel empowering. Until then, I love y'all. Keep going. Don't let nothing get you down. Don't let nobody get you defeated. Keep ascending. Peace.
Gotta keep ascending. Yeah. Even at your worst, you gotta keep your vision. That's the only way that you gonna keep ascending. Her pain is my pain. Her struggle's my struggle.